Alright, man. Let's redo my JPEGMAFIA tier list. I'm doing this for similar reasons I redid my rapper tier list. The old one's outdated, I don't like the quality of it, and so many takes I disagree with now. This will be a whole lot more fun because JPEG is actually my favorite artist of all time, and I just think he has like one of the best catalogs in all of music. I do have a few notes before we get into this, so let's just go. Number one, I talked about this in that weird little short video I dropped where I explained my ratings and rankings. I said that S tier is like a decent to strong 9 and up. For this vid though specifically, S tier will be restricted to just 10 out of 10s. So that means like a strong 9 will still go in A tier. I'm doing this because I love a lot of JPEG's music, and the glazing would be insane if I just did it normally. I've had a lot of time to sit with this guy's music, so much of his stuff has grown on me, so much has clicked, and I just want the albums in S tier too. You know, I just want them to be seen as special, you know? Like it's kind of like The Incredibles. Like, if everything's in S tier, nothing is really. Like, it's just not special if everything's in S tier, if you get what I'm saying. Note number two, I will be including EP2, like the version with those 2 songs that are on Not On Veteran, which, Not On Veteran, including that too, including both versions of LP, including Freestyles compilation, including the offline EP of songs that couldn't make it on streaming to begin with, including the 5 songs off of the leaked like I Have Fulfilled My Contract thing, but I will not be including The Wolf Returns. That's why it's at the back of the line. I'm mainly doing this because A, it's not really official, B, I've heard clips and I don't really like it. So I never really went out of my way to go like listen to it. And the only reason it's here is because it was part of the tier list. So I won't be talking about it, just throwing it at the back of the line and leaving it. But I will be going in release order, so let's start with Generation Y, his debut. Funny thing is, this was one of my favorite JPEG projects for a minute. Like, I had it in S tier, it was like one of my all-time favorites, and then I re-listened to it, and it progressively grew off me more and more to the point where I would put it in like C or D tier, and then I re-listened to it again and again, and then it grew back on me to where I'll throw it somewhere near the top of A tier. This project is so good, man. I love how lo-fi it is. It just sounds like an old, like really dusty mixtape you'd find on like YouTube at night when you're scrolling around. Some of the production isn't really that great, particularly on like the second song. But man, when I tell you the highs on this album are high, like they are high, man. Amladu, Operation like Kill Chet Hayes. Oh my god, bro. Those are some of the best Peggy songs, period. Like, those are just some of his best songs. The beats are fantastic. They're so, it's just so melancholy, man. Those aren't the only highlights, though. I love tracks like Monade. Ends to the Means is a great song. And that one, like, Operation Y, I don't know how to say that song. Like, it's like Operation Y, N-I-L-L, I don't know how to say that song. But that song's great. Light Bulbs, love the Cowboy Bebop sample. I just love the energy of this tape, man. It just sounds like a guy that loves to make music finally doing it, and it's just it's a magical tape, man. I really love this one. It's a strong 9 for me. Just love this album, man. Then we got Joe Chill World, S tier. This is one of his best albums. I do think that The Laughing Man is a bit of a weak song, but like, dude, everything else after that, like just amazing. There's so few albums that are just like straight hit compilations, man, and this is one of them. Sabbath School, Neon Kitchen, Montebello High School Prom, Power of Madonna, 1989, what else? Omega Weapon, Operation Kill Stormfront. I've named like literally the whole album, and it's all so good. Game of the Century is a pretty good song too, but it doesn't really stack up to everything else here. Still a great track, but is it like beating Neon Kitchen 2? Probably not. Joe Chill World is just so cozy with its sampling and just the vibe, man. Peggy in his Devon era just has this really like charismatic, really like just smooth flow, man. And it's really accentuated here. He's just tripping on these beats, man. This album is so good, man. And I hold it up there with a lot of his more modern projects. Just love this album a whole lot, man. It's a 10 for me, easy, just no debate, man. Then we got Dreamcast Summer Songs, which used to be like one of my like favorite Peggy albums. It's still one of my all-time favorites, but like it used to be somewhere in that top 5. It just grew off me on re-listen. I'll still throw this in S tier. It's definitely one of the weaker projects in S tier, though. I feel like I can't really say this about much albums, but my favorite part about DSS is the flow of it. I love how every song just drips into the next. It's not like a matter of, there's like a little transition. It's just like it feels natural, you know? Like it just feels like, this should come right after this. I love how tracks like Choo Choo Rocket and Code Veronica just feel like experiences, man. They just feel like labyrinths of sound, and it's so weird. Just it feels like I'm like scaling it every time I listen. It's so magical, man. Last time when I did this vid, this was like a contender to be my all-time favorite Peggy project. It's still one of my all-time favorites, but I definitely don't hold it up there to that high of a regard anymore. Still goated though, still a 10 for me. Yeah, I just love this album, man. Then we got the Rockwood Escape Plan. I'm a bit mixed on this one. I'm gonna throw this one in A tier. I like this one a lot, but my main problem with it is the fact that it is so bloated. I think that's the main criticism with this record. It just has way too much filler on it. And I will admit there are some bad songs on here too, like A Song About Nothing. There's probably a couple others I'm just forgetting. Or like the Andre Da-Da-Da song. That song isn't bad, it just does nothing for me. And even the songs on here that are good, like Blue China or like Toonami, you know, like they just don't need to be here, man. Cut all like the filler out. Make this like a very focused 40 to 50 minute project. You have like an A+ to S tier project on your hands. As is though, it just has some bloat. And while I do still enjoy the songs that I think are filler, it just drags, man. Especially when you have a bunch of your best songs near the front end. Like King, I Love You Hip Hop, but I Can't Be Your Girlfriend because that's gay. Capcom vs. SNK. Project Birdie, oh my god, I love that song. I Love Illuminati. God and Earrings. There's so much good stuff near the beginning, but it just kind of gets a little boring near the end. And I think you could have either ended it sooner or just cut a bunch of songs from it. It's still a friggin' great project though. I mean, I have it in A tier and I'm gonna give it a decent to strong 9. But like, I just know this album could be like way better. Then we got Lisa with Enzo Sinatra or JPEGMAFIA or now Airdrop Mafia. This kind of feels like Rockwood Part 2. I'll throw this in C tier actually. This project's good. It has some songs that I like a lot, but it's kind of forgettable, honestly. I'm not really remembering much on here besides the intro, because literally everything else on here just kind of sounds like leftovers from Rockwood Escape Plan. I still think it's good though. I don't really think there's any like downright awful moments. There are some songs I don't really like. I just think it's kind of forgettable, man. I do hope that JPEG and DatPiff though, like they make another collab project in the future. I think that would be fun. Yeah. Lisa's like a light 7. It's a good project, man, but like, am I really revisiting this over all the other projects that have come before? Probably not. Then we got Ghost Pop Tape. I don't want to drag the video down, so I'm just going to go through this real quick. Last year, I was listening to this album on repeat. This was like my favorite Peggy project in the last version of the video. It was my favorite album of all time for like a hot minute. People that were with the channel know that. I just had this thing on repeat, man. And while that was all going down, I was also kind of living this album. If you're familiar with the themes that go on in this album, that was kind of what I was going through. Like the I'm too big of a coward line on the intro, that was like always playing in my head. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds, but like this was like kind of a crutch for me. And up until like December of last year, I was going through it, man. And up until December of last year, I was just in this cycle, man. It wasn't good. Then sometime in December of last year, I stopped listening and I haven't revisited it in a while. My life's been getting better. I'm not down in the dumps all the time. I'd be lying if I said I'm doing like 100%, you know, all the time. And I'm being the best version of myself. But, you know, I'm making a conscious effort to improve at least. Yeah, I was listening to this album at my lowest point. And like 2 weeks ago, I thought it'd be a bright idea to go on Internet Archive and try and watch the movie. And I was left feeling sick to my stomach. Yeah, I can't revisit this album, man. I didn't like the headspace it put me in. It made me feel bad. I didn't like it. So for that reason, Ghost Pop is one of the only albums I can't really rate or review. Mainly just because there's so much baggage there for me. And because just like, it's not even music to me at this point, man. It's just like, I don't know how to put it, man. I don't like it. I don't want to review it or rate it. I'm going to throw it at the back of the line. And at the end of the video, I'll put it in its own little tier called I Got PTSD Thinking About It. That's a joke. I just want to say, but like I don't want to think or talk about this album any further. Is that cool? Okay, let's go. There are only 2 reasons why it's here. A, it was part of the tier list, and B, if I made my own tier list and discluded it, I'm going to get like at least 5 comments asking, why isn't this here? And, you know, here it is. Enough with that, man. I don't care, man. It doesn't matter. Let's move on. Heart emoji, A tier, man. Above Rockwood for me. I revisited this project the other day, man, and it's so good. It's so good. It feels like a pared down version of Rockwood Escape Plan, taking like the 4 best songs and just like putting it into one little EP. Every track on here is a hitter, man. Charlie Baltimore, Pizzicato 5, Sleeping With Your Woman, Satan, all fire, man. Love those songs. The weird little interlude tracks like Manny and Shamu are kind of weird. Not the biggest fan of those. I don't really include them on the album. But like the actual songs here are just so good, man. But here's why it isn't an S tier. It's too short. I know it's an EP, but like it is just kind of over before you know it. And I'm loving the vibe, man. I love these songs. It's just like it just ends, dude. And I'm like, no, come on, man, keep going. I want a little more. I just wish it had like 1 or 2 more songs, man. Just one or 2 more. It's still fantastic. Like I said, strong 9. Just too short, man. Leaving the Devon era, though, we have Communist Slow Jams, which I will throw an A tier under heart emoji. I was actually thinking about including the director's cut, but to be honest with you, both versions are pretty much equal to me because they both suffer from the same problems. They both have incredibly high highs and then just some filler tracks thrown in the mix as well. Songs like Our Culture or Japan no, they're not great, man. Especially Our Culture. I don't like the vibe of that song. Speaking of vibe, though, I feel like both versions of this project kind of vary. You'll get really floaty songs like Waves or Polly, and then you'll just get really sounding songs like I'll Never Forgive Hipsters for What They Did to Brooklyn, or like I said, Japan. This record is just very polarizing and pulls you in a bunch of different directions. I'd argue that this is Peggy's most experimental project, him just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, samples, tangents, sleepy and aggressive deliveries. He honestly does a surprising amount of singing too, as well as just some of his strangest production to date. Like I said though, the director's cut is basically on the same level of the original, mainly just because it adds on a couple more highlights like Thought Jesus or Quarter Life Crisis, as well as adding a couple more lowlights like Police Brutality or Show, where it's not a bad song, it just doesn't really go anywhere, man. It just feels like a rough idea. As a whole though, I think Communist Slow Jams is really interesting and I still think it's one of his best projects. I had it up in S tier last time, and I could see why. I just feel like a couple tracks have grown off me to where I'd probably throw it right here and give it like a decent strong 9. Then we got Dark Skin Manson, which I re-listened to the other day, and it only grew on me like a little bit. Like genuinely, this is his worst album by a mile. I'm gonna throw it in F tier. It's the only reason why there is an F tier here. Like when I listen to this project, I think there are a couple highlights, don't get me wrong. I actually found myself enjoying like half of this project to the point where I would like throw it in D tier, maybe give it like a strong 5 to a light 6. But then literally the day after I listened to it, it just completely grew off me again. Something about the sound Peggy was going with on this project is just not good, man. And it just makes me really like, it just feels gross, dude. Like the second track, I don't want to listen to that. I'm sorry, I don't want to listen to it. The 3-parter track on here, I just don't want to listen to that. It sounds so messy. It's just so muddy. And while I do like some of the more trap-based kind of productions on here, it's just not fun, dude. It's so just grimy, and I don't like the vibe of it. I literally re-listened to this project like 3 or 4 days ago, and it's just like growing off me more and more and more as time goes on. This is a bad album. I don't like it, and I think Peggy truly missed here. I'm feeling like a light 3. Yeah, this is bad. It's a bad album. Then we got Black Ben Carson, which I think is gonna go in B tier. This record kind of grew on me, and then it grew off me. I feel like ever since I really started listening to Peggy, this project has always just been like pretty good to me. Editor me here just to break in and say, I literally have the same problems with this album that I do with Rockwood, so just take what I said there, like, oh, it's bloated, could have some songs cut, make it like 40-50 minutes, you have a pretty great project, and just apply it to this one. Literally the same thing to me. This is like a decent 8 for me. I just don't really like the songs as much as Rockwood. Then we have the Second Amendment, which I think is between B or A tier for me. I'll throw it at the top of B. I feel like this is like Black Ben Carson Part 2 and with Freaky. The production on here is insanely abrasive at times. And I feel like this is probably Peggy's loudest album. It's super glitched out and just really like hard. But I also feel like a lot of the songs on here, specifically near the end, kind of just feel like loose ideas. It also has one long song that I don't really like, that being Big Data, The Internet Ain't Safe. Everything else though is pretty good. I just feel like certain songs tend to meander. Even songs that I love, like the opener, just feel like, I don't know, like very loose, you know? Almost like it's being recorded and performed live, like they're playing the beats and then Peggy and Freaky are just kind of standing around on a stage walking back and forth, trading bars. And there's just points on this record where it's literally just beats kind of being shifted around with like a bunch of sound effects. It's really weird, man. I still think this record's great though. I think it's a fun time, and I do really like the abrasive production. I just feel like it could have been a little more focused. It's like a strong 8 though. It's a great project, man. Then we got EP 2, kind of. It's this one with the blurry photo, and it's just like the 2 songs. I think it's called like Ash My Blunt and Don't Ruin That Boy. This one's gonna go in D tier. This is one of my least favorite Peggy projects. I feel like both songs aren't bad. but they aren't good either. The first track sounds kind of like, I can't describe it, like he had a different beat, recorded a song over it, then took his like vocal track and then laid it over a completely different beat, so it kind of sounds a little offbeat. Then the second song is just kind of okay. I don't know, man, his singing is kind of weird. It's just kind of meh. I don't really like care about this EP. I don't really care about this song when it shows up on Not On Veteran, and I just think it's pretty overall. I'm feeling like a strong 4 to a light 5 on EP2. Then we have Not On Veteran, which I think is an A tier project. My main problem with this is that the worst tracks come near the end. The song Is a Safe Space isn't even that bad. It just kind of meanders, and then you have the EP2 songs that kind of show up too, that don't need to be there at all. I feel like the fact that those songs come near the end just throw off the momentum of the project, because literally everything else here is actually really good. And for the most part, it's just hit after hit, really. Puff Daddy, Millennium Freestyle, Starcade 97, friggin' Does the Ski Mask Make Me Look Fat? And Man Purse, oh my god, it just keeps going. It's just so good, and then it just ends kind of abruptly with some okay songs. Like, genuinely take out those last two tracks, you have like probably a project that's better than Rockwood, as though it's being brought down by some songs that I don't love but I don't hate. This is still a friggin' great project though. I'm feeling like a light 9 on it. Yeah, I really like this one, man. Speaking of Not On Veteran though, we have Veteran, which is gonna go straight into S tier under Joe Chill World. This has got to be one of the best like album experiences of all time. Just listening to this album from front to back, it's just so strange and off the wall. It just has oozing amounts of personality. I've listened to this album so much to the point where I feel like I love every song here. Tracks that I used to not like Rock and Roll Is Dead or Germs, are now some like moments that I'm looking forward to when I revisit. Like, I listened to this album again the other day, and I was like legit bobbing my head to Germs. It's strange. It doesn't really have any misses. So not only is it consistent, it's got insane highs too. Baby I'm Bleeding, 1539, Curb Stomp, Rainbow Six, the song about Morrissey. There's so many highlights on here, and it's just, it's so fun, dude. This album is so fun. It has no right being this fun. Yeah, Veteran is just one of my favorite albums ever. I love this thing. Easy 10 for me. Easily one of his best projects. Then we have All My Heroes Are Cornballs, which kind of feels like Veteran, but for nighttime. I feel like Veteran's the kind of album I would listen to on a hot sunny day, but then Cornballs is the album I'd listen to like at night, because it does tend to offer a similar album experience. It's very spacey, it's very interesting, and as time's gone on, it's just gotten cozier and cozier for me. I think this album can easily slot into S tier. I think the reason I put under Veteran though is because I tend to like Veteran's album experience more. I think that overall Cornballs is much more memorable and much more consistent, and probably has higher highs than Veteran. I just love how well put together and how weird Veteran is. And to add on to that, Veteran is a very singular album. Like, Peggy doesn't have another album that sounds like this. There are other albums though that sound like Cornballs, like LP or some of his early Devon work. Veteran is just very unique. But Cornballs is very strange. I just really enjoy it, man. And it really sounds like the cover, like I'm in that room with Peggy. It's really interesting. Yeah, I love Cornballs, man. It's grown to be one of my all-time favorite Peggy projects, and I think it's an easy 10 for me. Then we have his 2 EPs, which I think are pretty much equal. I'll throw them both in A tier at the bottom under Not On Veteran. I'll honestly give the edge to EP2. I do think it's a little more consistent, and I tend to go back to it more. Honestly, I might even put it above Not On Veteran. I'll keep it below for now, though. I feel like my problem with EP1 is that the highs severely carry it. Songs like Bald Remix, Bodyguard, and Cutie Pie really just bring this album up to like a different like level. The other tracks are also good, but like, am I really going back to the bends of all songs? And a song like Rough 7 isn't even that bad. It just gets ruined by the screams of Tommy Genesis. Overall, though, I think EP1 is still great. I think it's definitely between B or A tier, though. It's like a strong 8 to a light 9. I think EP2 is definitely better, mainly just because I like the vibe and I think it's way more consistent. Like I said, I also just go back to it way more. I bump this often at night, and I think every song on here is just like equal. Like Fix Yourself, Celtic, Panic Room, Feed Her. This one's for us. There's just too many great songs on here, man. I will say, though, I'll never forgive Peggy for not including Kimber on here. The live version of EP2 is probably better just because of Kimber. EP2 is like a light to decent 9 for me. Yeah, really like this project, man. Now we're getting into the bad boys, man. We got both versions of LP. I got to gush about LP offline, man. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This might be my favorite album of all time. I think that just everything about this album is perfect. I love the production. This has some of Peggy's best rapping on here. Got some of his most memorable hooks. It's probably got the best sequencing out of any Peggy album. It just flows so well, man. And the vibe, oh my god. Don't get me started on the vibe of this album, man. Every single song on here is a certified hit. There's no like misses on here. It's just every song, again. Like listening to this album over is like life-changing. It's insane, man. Nothing has this magical sound. Like on a song like Trust, where he's just going like, everything's cool, everything's perfect. Ooh, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling nice, whatever. Like, that's how I feel when I listen to this album. I feel like I'm like I feel like the shit, bro. Like that's how I feel. Like I feel elevated. It's insane. Hazard Duty Pay, oh my god. Dirty. Like I'm going through the track list right now. Trust, fantastic. Dirty, oh my god. Nemo, one of the weaker songs, but still pretty good. End credits, fire. Hazard Duty Pay, life-changing song. God Don't Like Ugly, oh my god. What kind of rapping is this? Oh my god, with the freaking intro, with like the weird instrumental intro. I remember the first time I heard the offline version of this album, I was like, what is going on? And then the and then it was like oh my god, bro. It's crazy. Thoughts Prayer, oh my god, fire. Are You Happy? Fire. Have you seen the sample breakdown on that? Rebound, Peak, some of his best rapping. Dat Piff feature, 100 emoji, fire. OG, fire. I don't know how to say that one. Dikembe, that one's also fire, but like I don't really know how to say the title. Tired, Nervous, and Broke, probably one of his best rapping performances ever. He just puts his heart and soul into that song. Oh my god. Fire emoji. I mean, it speaks for itself. Nice. Oh my god. And the way it flows into BMT. BMT? Have you heard BMT? Oh my god. Like, bro, listen to this, bro. Listen to this. Have you heard this? Like, bro, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Like, bro. Just stop it. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. This album is so good. And it just keeps going. The Ghost of the Ranking Dread. That's one of the weaker songs, but like it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Damn, beautiful. Untitled is low-key the weakest song here, and it comes at the end, which is kind of disappointing. But like, oh my God. Have you heard this album, man? Have you heard this album? Because I feel like people don't hear this album. I don't think I heard this album, man. Like, Jesus Christ. He gave you, oh my God. It's amazing album. I gotta clap. That album is just, it's like the best thing ever. Like, just going back to it's ear candy, bro. Fantastic record, bro. This is easily his best album, and easily one of my favorite albums just like ever. Easiest S tier of my life. Easiest 10 out of 10 ever. Yeah, there's no competition, man. And we got the online version. Then we got the weak version, you know what I'm saying? This still has some great tracks on it. It still has like Bald. You got Bald there for some reason. I think that's cool, I guess. You got most of the songs here, but like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, this is why I didn't get LP at first. Because I listened to this and I was like, whoa, that's LP? Like, are you serious? Because I remember I used to just be a streaming boy. I used to listen to anything that was on streaming, and if it wasn't on streaming, I probably wouldn't listen to it. Like, I remember I went the longest time without listening to, like, Ex-Military by Death Grips because it wasn't on friggin' streaming. And then I finally listened to it. I was like, whoa, I was missing out. And this is just proof of that. Like, go off streaming, bro. I swear to God, like, if you're just using, like, YouTube, like, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, it's so much easier to just, like, listen to music because you're getting the best version, probably. And this is just proof of that. LP online is good. It's good, but like, why are you listening to this over the offline version? I don't get it. You are like, it's like punching yourself in the nuts because, for no reason. Like, why are you doing that, bro? Just listen to the better version. It doesn't make sense. It's still good though, but I probably like throw it in C tier. I'm probably above Lisa. This is just good. It's like a decent 7. Yeah, this is clearly the inferior version. Then we have some leaked material. I have fulfilled my contract. This got leaked last year. I'm specifically just talking about the 5 songs because, boy, they're really good. And, like, I'm just left wondering, why was this not on the album? Like, genuinely, why was this not on LP? They were cut tracks from LP, and they didn't make it for some reason. Like, have you heard What the Hip-Hop Hell Is This? Or whatever, Sudden Death, whatever you want to call it. Like, bro. Like, bro, how do you leave that off the album? Like, that is insane. The samples? God, bro, it's game over. It's game over. I remember listening to this song for the first time, and, like, I was levitating. It's crazy. You also got Toxic, that one song with, like, the... That's insane song. Love that song. The punchlines on that are crazy. Like, that's one of his best written songs. It's hilarious. Then the other 3 songs aren't nearly as good, I will say. I do like So Sweet a lot. I think that's a really great track. Don't Do Me Like That is also a pretty nice song. And I think For You I Will is just kind of okay. Basically, this is like a little EP that's really held together by 2 really strong songs, and the rest are just kind of good. Despite my criticism, though, I still love this little thing right here. And I really wonder how these would have been like sequenced onto LP. It's really interesting. Honestly, I'll throw them in A tier. Maybe above or under Not On Veteran. It's pretty close. I'll probably put it above because it doesn't have that one weird song near the end like Not On Veteran. Yeah, I'll throw it in A tier. It's like a light to decent 9 for me. Really great project. Then we have Freestyles. This was just stuff that was like released in like, I'm pretty sure the HT Bar series. I actually have a playlist of all these things on my channel. I made this just for me to listen to. And this kind of just feels like I Fulfilled My Contract Part 2, where there's 2 big highlights and the rest are pretty good, but like not nearly as good as those songs. The 2 highlights on here being Anna Nicole Freestyle or All This Money Freestyle and Sarah Miedo Freestyle. Both of those tracks are just fire. I love the beats. I love how Peggy flows off of them. And while the other songs are also pretty good, they're not nearly as good as those 2. I still think it's a great project, though. I'll throw it under EP2. It's like a strong 8 to light 9 for me. I go back to this every really so often, and I tend to enjoy it, man. It's like a strong 8 to light 9 for me. Yeah, I really like it. Then we have the Offline EP, which is basically just the LP online tracks that couldn't make it. I think it's just a great collection of songs. I don't know why I would listen to this over just like LP Offline, though. It's like a light to decent 9 for me. Like I said, it's under EP2. And then we got Scaring the Hoes. And I thought it would be interesting because I've talked about this album before in the past quite a bit. I love this album a lot, and I thought it'd be interesting if I went through the track list and like said who had the better verse, Peggy or Danny. So let's just go for it. Lean Beef Patty, it's Peggy because Danny's verse kind of feels tacked on. Steppa Pig is Peggy because, I mean, I just love his flow. Like when he comes onto the song, like, hold on, let me get this. Like when he enters the song like that, bro, when he does that, when he enters the song, like where just the way he flows into it, it's just fire. And then he has the extended verse at the end, so he out-raps Danny there. Scaring the Hoes is Danny. Like he carries that song. He has the hook. He got the verses. It's his song. Garbage Pail Kids is Peggy. That's one of his best verses ever. Just one of his best deliveries, man. He sounds like he's out of breath as he's rapping. Fentanyl Tester. Honestly, hold on. Let me listen. It's probably Danny. I just think he trips off that beat, man, so well. Super good stuff. Perfect is probably Danny. Love his energy on that song. We got Shutio and Muddy Waters. I don't really think there's a single winner here. They're both equal. I love Danny's just like strong flows on this abrasive beat, and then I love how Peggy comes in on the back and just blows me away, man. Orange Juice Jones is kind of like Steppa Pig. The way Peggy enters the song, where he kind of goes like da 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 da. Oh my god, bro, it's fire, fire. Kingdom Hearts Key is probably Peggy because he has the one beat switch part. The first time I heard that, my brain imploded on itself. God Loves You is Danny. I don't think that's any debate. I think that Peggy on Garbage Pail Kids or Danny on God Loves You is probably the best verse on the album. Run the Jewels is pretty equal because they're both kind of, I don't know. I feel like Run the Jewels is the only song here that's kind of thrown together. It's definitely the weakest track here. Still like it though. I'll probably give it to Danny, I guess. Jack Harlow Combo Meal is Danny. I like Peggy singing on the back end, but like Danny has a longer verse, man. And we got Heaven on Earth. This one's pretty equal. I feel like Peggy's flows are great, but Danny also has the one bar, my dog caught a charge with a fentanyl. And that just kind of makes it way better than Peggy's, so I'm probably going to give it to Danny. Then we got Where You Get Your Coke From, and I think Danny easily has the best verse on here. Just the way like he's like rapping while the beat's like going up, and he's just like still rapping under it so frantically. He's kind of like, and the beat's like, it's insane. It's super chaotic, just super fun stuff, man. And yeah, I think he has the best verse on that track. I think overall though, they're pretty equal. Peggy will have like the best verse on a track, and then Danny will. It's pretty back and forth. I feel like Peggy has like the first half of this record, and then Danny tends to have the back end. And I just think that throughout, it's just perfectly produced, perfectly rapped. Oh man, I love it. I do have 2 small complaints though. That being the feature list, it's really lacking. I swear, man, if you got like Denzel on here, Oof, it would be amazing. And then my other minor complaint is that I wish Peggy and Denny traded bars at one point. Like, I love it when rappers do that. Like on Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, there's that one song where Q-Tip and Phife Dawg are going back and forth. Like, they're going like da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. They're just like going back and forth. Like, that's the best stuff to me, man. Like, that's when like rappers have true chemistry together to me. When they're like going back and forth with the verses. That's fire. It doesn't really happen on here, and that kind of makes me sad. I still think Scaring the Hoes is a 10 though. It's still just peak music, man. I'm throwing this above Cornballs. Another 10 out of 10 for me. Just one of the best albums of the decade so far. Then we got the DLC pack, which kind of suffers from the problem that a lot of Peggy's other EPs has. That being that, like, it has 2 big songs and then the rest just aren't really that good. Guess what? We Back and Hermanos are like peak. Like, it's so good. But then the other 2 songs are just all right. Like, I like Tell Me Where to Go. I like the sample on there, but like, it's not doing it for me, you know? Like, it's not really like hitting me that hard. And then No 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 feels a little stiff. I like Danny's extended verse at the end, but I'd be lying if I said that the no beat was just kind of repetitive. So basically, it's like 2 10 out of 10 songs and then like 2 like 7 out of 10 songs. Because guess what? We Back. Oh my God. Hearing that live was like, oh my God. My brain melted, bro. Hearing that song was like insane. Like, that song does what I wish Scaring the Hoes did, where they're like playing off of each other. I love the hook. I love the energy. Have you heard the sample on here? Have you heard the sample? Oh my God. It is so good. Like I can't remember. Like the friggin', like like the, and the flows, oh my God, it is so good. Like, that song is so, oh my God. Like, in the way Peggy's freaking rapping on this part, oh my God. It is so good. That song is fantastic. And then Hermanos is fire. That beat's crazy. I love the wordplay. Love how they fly over the beats. That song is just fantastic. Then, like I said, Tell Me Where to Go. It's good, but a little subdued. And then No 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 is a little stiff, but I like Danny's verse. Overall, I think DLC pack is good. I wish more artists did this, opposed to just releasing like a deluxe version. Like, literally just release the songs as an EP of just like the extra tracks. It's way cooler to me. It's like at the top of C tier. I like this. It's like a strong 7 to me. Before I close out the video, I want to make a couple edits, so I'll cut this out. And yeah, let's go. All right, so there's my JPEGMAFIA tier list. If he drops the album this week, or anything, I will put like an update in the comments. Maybe I'll tack on a little thing at the end of the video where I say like, oh, this is where this would be. Man, I really wanted him to drop sooner. It's like July already and he hasn't dropped. Hoping the album is fire. I've heard snippets and it sounds like a rock album. That's going to be very interesting. But, you know, we'll see. And if he drops it this week, I'll post an update at least. But yeah, I got one big video coming next week. And I got more to come after that. Had a lot of fun doing this, man. Yeah, share your rankings in the comments as always. What's your favorite Peggy project? Have you heard I Have Fulfilled My Contract? What are your thoughts on Not On Veteran? I feel like no one talks about that project. Are there any people out there that prefer online to offline? I think that's pretty interesting. If you do, tell me. I'm glad you made it this far in the video. Had a lot of fun doing it. And I hope to see you in the next one, man. Bye.